Afternoon. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones. Today's topic: Michael Moore appeals to electors to go rogue to vote for Hillary Clinton. Michael Moore appeals to the electors. Now, when I mean the electors, the GOP electors. He wants them to go rogue so they will cast their vote for Hillary Clinton, because today is the day that the Electoral College actually votes for the president. Now, this article is by David Kaplan of Good Morning America. Good Morning America is a liberal news outlet because it is a subsidiary of ABC. Now, filmmaker and author Michael Moore has made an offer to Republican members of the Electoral College to not vote for Donald Trump. Now, what that's going to do is violate their pledge. Now, if they do, then the state has a right to impose a fine. Now, if that happens, according to Michael Moore, he said he'll pay for it. Now, in a letter that he addressed on Sunday to all Republican electors, and this came via his Facebook page, he understands that some states have made it illegal for you to vote any other way than Trump. Now, telling the electors of the GOP that if you don't vote for him, your state will fine you. So his offer to the electors who don't vote for Hillary, he obviously can't and won't give you money to vote tomorrow. But he's saying if you vote your conscience and you are punished for it, he will personally step up and pay your fine, which is his legal right. Now, Moore has pleaded with the GOP electors in an open letter to go rogue, and he writes, "I am writing you not as a card-carrying Democrat who voted for Hillary Clinton, but simply because I am an American like you who deeply loves his country and its people. I'm not going to ask you to vote for the person who got the most votes, although I'm going to be more persuasive into getting you to vote for the popular vote." In other words, the popular vote was won by Hillary, where the Electoral College was won by the Republicans, Donald Trump. And Mr. Moore, if I was talking to you face to face, let me throw this analogy, two sports analogies at you. If I was playing baseball, and baseball is 9 innings, extra innings if it's tied, if my team got more hits than your team, but you scored more runs, who would win? You would win. Okay? Now, let's utilize a football analogy here. If your team had more total yards, had more ball handling time, time of possession, more first downs, but I scored more points, who would win? This is exactly how you have to take the Electoral College. Okay. The Democrats really cannot take this L. They got their butts handed to them. Again, this is a referendum to liberalism. The majority of the country has spoken. Liberalism does not work in the United States of America. It never has worked. The political correctness agenda started when President Clinton became president in the early 90s. However, the country, utilizing academics like Cloward and Pivens, feminists such as Gloria Steinem, this was already in the making in the 60s. I mean, look at some of the music that was out. Janis Joplin, you had Edwin Starr talking about war. You had all the peace and protesting movements. Then you had that shooting up at Kent State University in Ohio from the National Guard members that shot and killed some students for protesting. What the Democrats aren't looking at is the 24 seats that are going to be up for election in 2018. they are still looking at Hillary got more Electoral College votes. And I'm going to have to put this all on the academic system of college. A lot of you professors in college are liberals yourselves. You haven't produced anything. You're not teaching your students anything. And I believe some of you are sending these students out in the real world unprepared to understand how it works because you as professors don't know how it works. George Soros, he's also funding a lot of these campaigns. Hey, he funded Black Lives Matter. I believe he funded Occupy Wall Street, although I might not have the concrete evidence, but it just seems like something that George Soros would do because George Soros is a devout socialist. You got individuals, pro-black man like Van Jones. You have all of these liberals up here, your radical environmentalists, your radical feminists. What has happened in this election, middle America has been tired. You're working 2 jobs, wages aren't going up. All the Democrats have done for the last basically 20 years, they played a lot of divide and conquer or racial identity politics. And as an African American, the Democrats don't do anything but keep African Americans on a plantation. And when it comes time to vote for president, here's what happens. They'll knock on our doors and ask for our vote. You'll see all these politicians, they're coming into churches, wherever we are, just for our vote. And black people, you got to start reading politics. If you want to get in the game, like Joe Biden says, get some skin in the game, you must do what the gays did. And the gays were very smart for doing this. Number 1, what is your agenda? What are you looking for from a president? Number 2, how are you going to organize it? And number 3, is the issue that you're trying to establish, is it finance? You have to ask yourself this. And then when you vote, why don't you look at both parties? See, the reason why people like Michael Moore and these other celebrities are coming out, because they're irrelevant. They've always been irrelevant. But these are the individuals that talk about the wealthiest 1%, but they don't want to utilize their resources. They want the wealthiest 1%, like Donald Trump, like Nelson Rockefeller, and any other person who doesn't vote the way they do in a political party to donate their money while they keep their money. You have people like Rob Reiner, Norman Lear, you have Al Gore, Nancy Pelosi. These individuals are all rich. And they like the status quo. And that's what politics is about. It's about the status quo. But what happened during this election, you really had an independent, because I don't consider Donald Trump a Republican because he did donate to Hillary's campaign in 2008. And I believe they're the best of friends as well. But what Donald Trump did, he learned something from Ross Perot. He took his independent identity and ran as a Republican and won. Had 306 Electoral College votes. Democrats, if you want to win elections, you need to put out a good message. You cannot keep being unprofessional because you didn't win. Republicans have gone through 2 presidential elections without winning the White House. Why? Because their message wasn't strong. Democrats, your message just isn't strong. Hillary is a bad candidate. She has too many skeletons in the closet. She's associated with her husband. And this is what the people have looked at. I know running for any type of office, and I've never run for office, it's very tough. However, once you have a message that is going to gravitate with people, and this is what makes you real leaders. Leaders are influential. Donald Trump happens to be more influential. Now, I don't know how he's going to govern. We'll see when January 20th comes into play. Now, there was also another elector from Ohio. She decided to resign. Remember, they have alternate electors if one resigns. It's just like a jury. But I cannot get over the Democrats. So, the 538 members of the Electoral College, which is a group of voters from each state, they will elect the president and vice president. Of course, they'll meet today, Monday, in their state capitals to cast their votes. While it is possible that a few electors who are pledged to Trump could go faithless and vote for Clinton or another candidate, most experts still predict that Trump will get the 270 Electoral College votes that he needs to win. Now, as for penalties imposed by rogue electors, the National Conference of State Legislatures writes on its website, some states have passed laws that require electors to vote as pledged. These laws may impose a fine on any elector who fails to vote according to the statewide or district popular vote, or it may disqualify an elector who violates his or her pledge and provide a replacement elector. That's exactly what I said. So no matter who resigns, because they had a Republican, he defected, they just propped up a replacement. So be that as it may, you lose one, you gain one. It's not going to change. All the recounts was just a waste of money. Now, I believe that Jill Stein could have been given the money from the Hillary campaign because she had really, her position in this election wasn't in play. She only got 1% of the votes. Even Gary Johnson, the Libertarian candidate, got more votes than she did. But she could be staking a claim out to run for president in 2020. I tell you what, with this going on, she might as well just back it up. And for you liberals who want to go to another country, go to another country. But you're not going to go to another country. You know why? Because you're not going to have that freedom of speech. So my question to you liberals is, why do you want to change this country? If you don't want to live in tyranny, why do you want to live in tyranny? Because you think you can impose your self-righteous policies on the rest of us. It's not going to work. You lost. Take that L. Go back, groom a candidate, somebody who is centrist, that can appeal to both the right and the left, and start working on the 24 Democrats who have Senate seats that are going to be up for election in 2018. Now, once you do that, and you make sure that they're qualified to run for office, you make sure that you get good media behind them, good press behind them. You also make sure that they are filled with integrity. They don't have a lot of skeletons in the closet. See, this is what the Tea Party did in 2010, and this is why the Republicans have crushed the Democrats. Do you know the Democrats have not won the House and Senate since 2006? And at that time, it made George Bush a lame duck president. And the Democrats are just going to lose more and more and more elections. Democrats, you cannot utilize rogue tactics when you lose elections. The people see you. You can't distract most of us. We're watching you. And if you look at this election, a lot of your state houses, state senate, and governorships have been won by Republicans. And the reason why Hillary Clinton lost as well is because it's the economy, stupid. The economy failed under Obama. Not that it was his fault, but it was his policies. When you have radical environmentalism, when you have a health care bill that nobody has read, when you have slow growth, certainly he may have had X amount of jobs, but what types of jobs were they? Were they high-tech jobs, or were they part-time jobs? Were they unskilled jobs? You have to figure that into the equation. But at the end of the day, Democrats, your message didn't work. So I'm suggesting you not to hijack the process because you lost. Get a candidate who is centrist, groom that candidate to run for president in 2020, because before you know it, it'll be 2020. And at the end of the day, this is lessons learned. And that's this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show for today, Monday, December 19th, 2016. You can tune in to the 411 Talk Zone radio show every Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. Guest calling number is 215-383-5785. If you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now, also on this channel, we do not talk about any controversial or social type of topics, nor do we engage in drama or unnecessary bickering. Again, this is a channel that's promulgated to educating folks. So we keep everything positive and respectful here because knowledge is power. If you have a business or a topic that you would like for me to discuss on Blog Talk Radio or YouTube, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. I like comments. Please leave your comments in the comment section. But make sure that your comments are pithy, no bloviating or pettifogging if you wish to opine. And that is it for this video. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other and have a wonderful and blessed afternoon.